Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Today I want to do a really manly video for you guys and introduce you to my pet Dove. Just getting back from work, and I thought, why not introduce you to my little buddy. Hey bud. What's up? What's up? You want to come out? You want to come out? You're ready to come out, huh? Come here, buddy. Go back on your dish. Come here. Come on. Say hi. What are you doing? You're not used to the camera, huh? You're not used to the camera. You like being on top of the TV, don't you? Come here, buddy. Come here. So anyway, hi buddy. Hi bud. So I never really thought that I would actually own a dove as a pet. This is, we call him Birdman or Dovey. So how do we get Dovey? Well, we go over to, hey bud, what are you doing? Can you say hi to YouTubes? This video's about you, buddy. This video's about you. We leave my dad's house and we're getting ready to go over and look at this house. It was for sale. And I wanted to check out the garage and Katie wanted to check out the house. And we knew that nobody was living in it, so we just thought we'd go take a look at it. It was like negative 10 degrees for probably around, I'd say like a week two solid. Negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit. We're hanging out. We like, yeah, we have some time. It's on the way back the mountain, so we were like, we'll just go out a little way, stop there and take a look at it. We get up to the house. I pull in the driveway. There's a bunch of snow. And I'm like, I want to check out the garage, so let's drive around back. So we drive around back, and I look off. They have a deck on the back of the house. And on the banister was this all-white little dove sitting there. And I'm like, there's a bird sitting on that banister. And Katie looks at me, and she's like, I think that's like a statue or something like that. And I'm like, no, I could tell by the way he's fluffed up from having parakeets and stuff when I was younger. You could always tell whenever they want to keep the heat and they like fluff themselves up. So I'm like, I got to get out of the truck and take a look at this up close. So I walk up to the banister. I got to put my hand out, and the dove just kind of chills out, like just stays there. And I'm like, hey buddy, I'm talking to it a little bit. I'm like, what's wrong? You know, I could tell like maybe it was injured or something like that, because it's just rare for it to be sitting outside that cold and not trying to fly somewhere. So I put my hand out, and when I got really close to it, it was scared, so it tried to fly. When it tried to fly, its whole breast was like ripped open, and like the groin area was ripped open, like it got attacked by something. And you can tell that because all the blood on like a white dove, it's going to stick out. So I tell Katie. Katie rolls down the window. She's like, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. I got like one of two choices here. So I could tell it was injured. It would have never made it out in the cold like that and on its own. And something probably would have got it on the ground, of course. You know, maybe a cat or something like that. So I'm like, well, I'm either going to put it out of its misery, or maybe I can try to capture it and we'll save it. So I'm thinking in my head, like, I don't know if these birds, like their claw, I don't know how tough they are, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to scare it anymore. I don't want it to start bleeding more. And I'm like, do I put it out of its misery or do I save it? So I just cleaned the truck out. There was nothing in the truck to put this bird in. And I'm like, I don't know what we're going to do. Like, I need like a blanket or just something. And I didn't want to scare it anymore because the more it was flying, I didn't want it to tear open the wounds anymore. You having fun, bud? This video's about you. You know that, right? So I asked her, I'm like, is there anything we can find in the truck? She looks down. She's like, there's a bag. You know, like those bags that you put Christmas presents in that just like unfold and they're just like a white paper bag? That's all we had. So I was like, I'm going to try to capture it. And of course, me being me, I don't want to see something die and go through like misery. So either put it out of its misery quickly or let's try to save it. Of course, I'm going to try to save it. So we get the dove in the bag. I find a pair of like gloves or something, and I grab the dove, and I'm holding the wings. I put him in the bag. We just close the bag up a little bit, and he's hanging out with us. So I'm like, what do? We started making calls. We called the humane societies, the vets, all these different places, emergency lines, the police. They laughed at us. The police were like, what do you want us to do about it? And we're like, is there somewhere we can take it to get help? Of course, nobody, aside from the people laughing at us, nobody really responded or cared. And we know it was like 10 o'clock at night. What's up, bud? What's up, buddy? You like messing with me. Anyway, so we start driving home. We're still making some calls. I call my buddy, and I'm used to calling people for like the most random things ever. And I call my buddy and I say, hey, do you have like a cat carrier or anything? I have an all-white dove in the back of my truck. And my buddy's like, wait, what? You have a bird in your truck? I said, yeah. I said, I need like something to put him in. So I had to like explain the story, which was pretty funny. We get back to his house. He gives me this little cat carrier. I don't know what to do. I don't know the first thing about doves. So I start researching. Just maybe it's hungry, maybe it's, what does it need? We put him in the cage, and I would have let him fly around because it seemed like he wanted to like hang out. I didn't want him to keep flying because every time he was flying, he's stretching himself, and then you'd see blood coming out again. So I called a couple places. The closest appointment I could get was like 2 or 3 days. I got a hold of the one vet on the emergency line. She said, well, if he makes it, doves are like weaker birds. So if he makes it the next couple days, or if he doesn't get infected, you have a chance of it surviving. So bring it down and we can take a look at it, but there's not really much we can do. So we take him down to the vet, and I'm kind of like really worried at this point because I've had him now for a couple days. What are you doing? What are you doing? Sorry, he keeps throwing me off, or she. So we go to the vet. The vet checks her out a couple days later. I find some food from Walmart that night that I thought would just be something they could eat. They're soft beak bird, so you have to get like food that they can eat. I'm thinking like, let's just get them to survive for a couple days, and we'll take them to the vet and see what they can do. So we get down to the vets. The vet checks her out. Kind of worried about her because I'm like getting attached now, and I'm like, I want to do everything in my power to save this bird. So the vet comes out and she says, he has a big scab here and his groin was ripped open. She said most likely he got hit by like a hawk or something, tried to attack him, knocked him out of the air, and then he just kind of sat there. Here's what you can do. You can put Neosporin on him. If he doesn't get infected, you have a good chance he survives. They can live a pretty long time. That's about all they told me. I think she charged me like $75 for the visit. So we come back home, now I have the dove. So I'm on Amazon trying to find the biggest cage I can find to make like this awesome home. So a couple weeks go by, and Birdman here is starting to just come around and hang out and fly around the house and really, really just being really cool. And like I'm getting more, throughout this whole process, I'm getting more and more attached. I can see the wounds are healing, but every once in a while, when she fly around the house, you could tell that, there might be a little bit of blood. So it was still healing. So it took about, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks for everything, maybe 3 weeks to a month for everything to fully heal. And there were still some feathers missing here and in the groin, but everything pretty much healed up in what seemed to be no time. So now more and more we're spending more time together every day. Come home, and you start to learn the personality of this dove, and it's really cool. I never expected to own a dove. That's not exactly my it's not exactly a pet that I would picture to have. But now, since I've had her for like a couple years, it's really cool. And a lot of people ask me about her, so you might see her in some of the videos. So basically, over the next couple months, I had to do research on doves, and what I found was like that these doves are probably smarter than what we think they are, because they can travel amazing distances, like up to like a couple hundred miles. They thought it was based off the sun. Then they needed to test with doves where they could still navigate without the sun being present. So like on an overcast day, they kind of thought that maybe it's geomagnetics. And they have like iron deposits on their nostrils, I guess, or something to that effect, that they think it's maybe geomagnetic where they can travel. And apparently they have like really good memory and eyesight as far as being able to remember things and see things quick in their depth. And that's why they kind of like bob their heads to get their depth down. So I keep learning more and more about doves, just like their travel, what you can do with them, and how smart they are. So aside from them being smart, we really didn't know what the sex was. Is it a male dove? Is it a female dove? You're supposed to have like 2 of them. We're reading all these different things. And for the longest time, we didn't know. So just like 6 months ago or so, we find out that Dove Man is apparently a female. I'm at work the one day, and Katie calls me, and she goes, you need to come home right now. And I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, did you put an egg in Dove Man's cage? And I'm like, no, why would I put an egg in Dove Man's cage? She goes, there's an egg in the bottom of the cage. I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe that's why he's acting weird like the last couple of days. So I come home, and there's this little egg, and I think I have a photo of that too, in the bottom of the cage. And I'm like, this is crazy. This is after years. I mean, years. We're going through like the molding where they pull their feathers out. They like to be clean. So they're clean birds. They produce like a little dust, I think, that keeps them like water repellent and stuff like that. But other than that, they're clean birds. They're very fun. They're harmless. They can't, even if they peck at you, you don't even feel it. So I come home and I couldn't believe this. We put the egg on the kitchen counter. We're checking out the egg. Well, I start doing research on these eggs now. Apparently you can eat them, but other than that, they say that they come in twos. So I'm like, I think we should probably be expecting another egg. Literally the next day, there was another egg in the cage. So we found out she's a female. And I think the only way to find that out is if you do like a DNA test, which costs a ton of money. We really weren't worried about it. So Dovey has the dove man name, the bird man name, things. You know, we come up with different names. But she's definitely a really cool bird, and it's been a really cool experience. I mean, she'll fly to me now. I can put my arm out, she'll fly to me. I can call her, she'll like pretty much come upstairs. And I got to show you guys this because their coos are like soft. So like when we had parakeets, they were like kind of like the annoying chirp, and doves are just like a coo. But now when I'm on the phone, if I'm outside and she hears me pull in, or from downstairs or in a different room and I'm talking, she wants the attention. So she'll start cooing and you'll hear it. So I'll try to maybe grab my cell phone and get some video, and I'll get downstairs and I'll leave the camera run, and you'll see like she'll start cooing if I'm in a different room. All right, bud, I'm going downstairs. When you're talking in the other room. Buddy. Buddy. You cooing, bud? You cooing, buddy? What are you doing? Whoops. What are you doing? Hey, buddy. What are you doing? You chilling? What? Let me see those wings. Let me see those wings. Can you coo for the camera? Can you coo for the camera? Hmm? But other than that, she keeps herself clean. We go through the molting from time to time with the feathers. She'll pull the feathers out and have new feathers coming in at all times. As far as like maintenance, there hasn't been much maintenance. You know, we got dove food, water, fresh water. It's cool to see her drink. You don't see her drink very often, but it's funny. Like if she is thirsty or I change her water out, she'll just start like chugging this water. And then they're very picky on like what they eat too. So if you put a lot of food in there, they're going to pick out the stuff they want first, and then they won't eat the rest of it if they don't have to. If you keep putting food in there, they're just going to keep picking, and they'll like pick out the food and throw it on the ground if they don't like it. But if there's not as much food in there, like say you only put the bowl like enough for like a day or two, when they get hungry, they'll eat everything, and it's good for them to get all the different nutrients and stuff like that from the food. So that's something we've learned too. I don't claim to be a dove expert. I'm learning as I go, but 4 years strong, and she's been having a good time. I still like to call her Dove Man though. But it's just a really cool thing I thought I'd share with you guys. Got home a little bit late today. It's getting dark out already, so there's not much else we can film. I got the event this weekend. But if you want to learn more about doves, let me know. I'll share more. I'll try to... You dancing? I'll try to share more in the videos. Come here. She's funny with kids and stuff like that too. And she gets real hyped whenever like there's a lot of people here. She doesn't know what to do. So sometimes she gets a little crazy. But pretty much just runs around. They're ground birds, so they prefer to be on the ground. So she'll run up the steps and go upstairs. And she likes to perch up on the TV and perch in high places and just hang out. And in the evenings when she calms down and she's like ready to go to bed, you can just set her on your shoulder or something. She'll just hang out and clean herself and just chill out. But you can see, I mean, she's more curious. Did you have fun in this video? All right. Well, that's it. If you guys want to learn any more about doves or you have a cool pet that you'd like to talk about, let me know down in the comments. Appreciate you guys. We have a lot more coming this week. Thank you so much. Be well. Are you dancing?